Welcome to today's bonus episode, Solstice Time. I had planned to stop at 7 episodes, but even I know the last one was really a downer. And I, who love the darker stuff, I don't want to end this season on that note. The day I'm recording this episode is actually on the winter solstice. And it is just a reminder to me, and maybe you need it this season, that light is always coming and going and coming again. Just like the planets rotate around and come and go, the sun every day comes and goes, the moon every 28 point whatever days comes and goes, the seasons, they come and go. It's always and all coming and going without needing any assistance or help from us. What I am calling solstice time. Because these two words essentially type exactly what I want to remember at any given time, and especially during the dark seasons of my life and the dark seasons of our year. Though we do our day-to-day on that chronos or clock time, we live our lives, our planting, our caretaking, our harvesting, our resting. Those go on solstice time. Our lives will do the planting and the caretaking and the harvesting and the resting, just like nature around us, if we just get out of the way and stay out of the way of what is naturally happening. When I used to be a hardcore Catholic, and I was a hardcore Catholic, there was that cautionary reminder not to go searching for suffering, to share with Christ. There's that whole martyr thing of like, we should be suffering and we should be like looking for the thing to do. And there was that cautionary tale of like, not to do that, because life will bring it our way anyway. We don't have to go searching for it. There is no need to add additional pain and suffering and strife, which is something I don't think anybody, Catholic or not, seems to take into consideration. We seem to sometimes be gluttons for punishment. So, I wish I could apply this teaching. I really, really do. But I know that I don't. I know that I, constantly am looking for the harder way and for looking for other things I can do to, quote unquote, bear the burden for others and, take the pain and suffering away from others. And I've learned a lot from all of those experiences, not just I shouldn't go searching for pain and suffering, but I've learned a lot. But I, like most things I've learned, I would love to unlearn this lesson. I'd love to unlearn this tendency I have to go searching for suffering and searching for pain and searching for just challenging things when I don't really need to do that. I tend to catastrophize and add more mental anguish to a situation and add more to my to-do list and add all the variations I can to make my life harder just for the sake of doing so. Because unfortunately, that's what has felt normal in my entire life. And that's unfortunately, I think, what society makes us feel normal. I wish it was just a religious thing. If it was just a religious thing, it might be easier to kind of offload. The other way I get myself is expecting things to be done always in a much shorter time period than they can actually physically and mentally happen for me, for myself, and for others. Particularly, it's much more mental for me. I expect to be over and done and the lesson learned and wrapped up in a neat little bow, months, years, decades, sooner than it actually happens. And things take time. And by Chronos time, it seems like it takes way too freaking long. But looking at it out in solstice time, measuring by seasons, which is something I've started being more focused on in the last few years, looking at seasonal time, it seems like it almost took no time at all. I almost wonder if I've given it enough time. I wonder if I do things too quickly and I can get myself coming or going. I'm wondering if anyone else can relate to that. Things take time, whatever that time happens to be. Good, bad, indifferent, happy, sad, they take time. And even if the event is over, the accident confirmed a miss, things take time to soak in, to be processed, to be implemented. Unfortunately, we can't 10-step process and procedure ourselves as we grow and we change, and I do love a good process and procedure. That is where I feel most at home. And I love to plan and prepare for everything that life will throw at me and, what it would take. I love thinking worst case scenarios, I can't do that in Chronos time or in solstice time. But in solstice time, you can see it all happening. You can see the summer, the spring, the new growth, the winter where we've got to rest, and the harvesting where things are going away so new things will come. All of the good, the bad, and the ugly, the death are going to happen all the time, always. And I have to remember, and maybe you need the reminder this season, but this is definitely what I need right now, is that living life doesn't mean it's always good, happy, and productive, and the sun is shining. It's not always summer. It means seeing and feeling and processing the tough stuff as we go through it, those fall and winter periods. Life is not just a guarantee of you're going to keep progressing through the game and win the game. That means we're no longer human, and I want to be human. So solstice time, as I'm referring to it, can be that reminder. And solstice time, it's all okay. Everyone and everything is in, the good, the bad, and the in-between, and the wonderful and the awful. So as I'm recording this on the day that shortest day of the year, and tomorrow it'll be just a little longer, I hope there is some comfort that it all always happens, whatever that happens to be, it's going to happen, and that this too shall pass. And we know and accept that it might come back around again in a different way, in a different form, for all things in life. The good, the bad, the ugly, the in-between. It's all going to happen. And it's always all going to happen. The minute we hit one, we're going to hit another one. And that is actually part of life. The death, the pain, the struggle, that is just as much a part as the good and the wonderful and the exciting and the love. And I would argue that love can be found even and sometimes in spite of, and sometimes is more beautiful with the pain. So thanks for listening this season. I appreciate it, and any feedback, please reach out to me. I'd love to hear, and I'll see you soon in the new year.